My name, the legal names in Chinese called Chen T. Sha's the last name. When I came to here, a lot of my American friends had problem to remember or pronounce that. Then I used Frederick. That's the name given to me by my junior high English teacher back in Taiwan, Republic of China. You heard a lot about Taiwan now. One time people called me Fred. May I call you Fred? I didn't know Fred was for Frederick. So I've been used to Fred, but I'm on my legal paper, it's not Fred. And Hsia spells H-S-I-A, is a phonetic translation from Chinese pronounced Sha. Sha means summer in Chinese. And also, about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, there's a dynasty called Hsia. And I never tried to trace back. Yeah, Fred Hsia. I came to Topeka officially in 1970. One time there was a local art supply store called Mix. You're probably not aware if you're not in Topeka long enough. Before you were born. And my office I worked for, cross street, right now it's the Holiday Square. The owner of Mix, they promote artwork and so forth. Sometimes I went there to buy art supply, we talked about it. Then one time there's a gallery he set up, asked me if I have some work to show, so I and my co-worker sent 2 drawings over, and that showed in Topeka High. Yeah, and from there I learned about Topeka Art Guild, and the president of the Art Guild's name's Charles Marshall. If you look into Topeka art history, you may hear his name. By then, he used to be the state architect, and his license number is 1 in Kansas. That tells me how old I am. And by then, in the evening, I took some classes from Washburn, so I get to know the Art Guild, so I joined it. Until 1978 or 79, and then I worked very hard, so I didn't participate in any activity. Until 2006 or 7, I was thinking about retirement from my own business, and then I started coming to this location, talked to Phyllis Corey, and mentioned about I used to be a TAG member, and then they said, well, don't you come back? That's how I rejoined it. Yeah. The good thing is I get to know people. I can learn a lot of things from them. And after I retired, or shortly before I retired, then I went back to Washburn, take art classes. And by then, I was over 60. I didn't have to pay tuition, and I don't have to do homework if I don't want to. I don't have to write papers and so forth like that. So I retake watercolor, and then I started oil painting, until the COVID started. Then I never go back. I still would like to go back to take, because I don't have to pay. In the class, the teacher is good, but I myself is not a good student, so I don't learn much. And I hear something, I don't retain. I'm very passive. I need people push me, things like that. So after the COVID, I wanted to go back, I keep forgetting the registration a couple of times. And then during the later part, I did organize a small group going out painting. We call our group called the Paint Out Group, POG. I did not use the fancy French words, plein air, something like that. The reason I stayed with the watercolors is because when, like everybody else, if you're in grade school, you started painting and so forth. Back in Taiwan, our art class is not as a fancy classroom here. When we do classes, the teacher squeeze the pigment. We don't even buy it because it's too expensive. And then in college, I had to take drawing and watercolor for my profession. I was in architecture, yeah, because by then there's no computer and so forth. When we design some buildings, we show the client floor plan, elevation, but there's still some people that still can't picturize. So we do rendering, perspective, and sometimes we use some watercolor to show what color of the walls. So we had to do that. And that's my formal training, watercolor. When I start here, went back, when I was working in Topeka, I took night class, I took watercolor, most of watercolor. When I went back, Washington, it's watercolor and oil painting. Now, 2 years ago, I dropped oil painting because we downsized, we moved to an apartment. And the basement workshop, they don't have exhaust fan. If I do oil painting, the smell and so forth, yeah. Well, I use a lot of photo for reference, like that oil painting there, the fireworks. That's I used the photography. I didn't go out night paint like that. Sometimes, like the group we went out to paint, sometimes I can finish about 80%. When I come back, I did not like it, so I redo it. Yeah, some just correct that. So, not very creative.
You're very creative.
No. People ask me, are you an artist? I never say yes. Because maybe I self-define the artist too narrowly. But if we use the words broadly, everything we do, everything we say is very, you can say that's very artistic. You express differently, right? No, the same thing you said is a different artistic expression. Right now I'm at a stage, that's seriously. I look back, I'm not quite satisfied. Then I'm trying to do something else, then I don't know what it is. I try to paint, yeah. Lately, I have watched some YouTube and somebody. Then I find out I'm too constrained by my background. When I was practicing architecture, I have to be very detailed, and I just can't let it go. So you look at my painting, just too much detail. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, another thing drive me to go to painting is because I had some training, and my boss, when I worked for a firm, in architectural firm, always talk about, well, after you retire, you better have something to do. Otherwise, you'll drop dead quick. And turned out that probably is true. When we first bought our house here in Topeka, we liked something put on the wall. So we went out, my wife, we went out looking for paintings. There's a problem. The painting I like, I could not afford. The ones I could not afford, I'm not quite sure I like it. Then I said, well, why don't I just do it myself? And then the good thing about do it yourself is when you put up there, your friends come over, they look at that. I have not heard anybody say, hey, Fred, that's not very good. Why you put up there? No, sometimes they're always trying to be nice. Oh, that's very nice. So,
Honestly, wonderful. Honest.
no, thank you. You make me flush. No,
And we are honored to have your paintings in our
thank you. I hope
for our guests to enjoy.
I hope your guests will not ask you, where the heck you get that? The reason I put up there is because I'm conscious about using other people's photography. That painting, the original, I read that in Topeka newspaper. They talk about Flint Hills. By then they would discuss the Flint Hills, this and that. I forgot the subject. I look at that. I said, well, the picture looks pretty nice. It was printed in color, a small one. And then I decided to write to the to Topeka paper. I said, I read your paper, the date and the picture. I said, I would like to get the permission from the photographer so I can use that picture to do a painting. Then I say, if the painting come out okay, I may show it to the public. People even may buy it. I say, I want the permission. And then someone got my email and responded to me. It's not the original photographer. He told me he left them. He says, you're okay, and so forth. And I think I even asked, I said, the newspaper photography is pretty bad, pretty rough. I didn't say bad. I said, if you have an original image, may I have a copy? He just sent me that, yeah. And that is the ones to tell the story, also protect me legally. You see, you're not supposed to use other people without permission and do it for the copyright, so to speak, yeah. When I was taking the watercolor washburn, so every class afterwards, we have critique. I seldom say anything. The reason is because my deficiency in language expression. I came here when I was growing up.
What was that like?
Because when we learn English, it's very different. Just give you an example. One time when I went to the American consulate in Taiwan to get my visa, when I was waiting outside the office, he had a lot of people in interview, either okay, yes or no. When the last one came out, I was outdoors, and he waved me in, and he was still standing up, flipping this and this and that. I stood in front of his desk. He says, "Oh, take a chair." I never learned that expression. I don't know what it is. I got to take a chair. I look around. I said, here's a chair. Then I made a guess. Must be sit down. The way we learn is when we say, how do you do, sir? How do you do, man? I'm fine. I'm well. I'm very well. Things like that. So the language expressions, I don't have. And our students, our classmates, they're always very nice. With a tree, if a portrait, oh, I like the hair, I like this, like that, and that's it. So one time my teacher forced me to say, Fred, you have to show your work and let people say, okay. Then I said something. I said, don't tell me you like a hair or that, just tell me which places I need to improve. That's the reason we come here to study. In the school, the first time I remember is the teacher used the chalk on the blackboard, draw a Chinese cabbage, and then we just copy it, that kind of things. Yeah. In the high school, we did go outdoor to paint, and the teacher walking around always tell us, what did you do wrong? What did you do wrong? They seldom say, hey, you were perfect. we are the teaching concept's different. We do the positive reinforcement here. We always say, Stacy, you do very well here, you do very well here. Well, this is nice, that's nice. Seldom criticize there, particularly when you have friends or classmates to do that. And our way is backward. The teacher always think, you come here to learn, I tell you what you did wrong. And that's what I'm used to. When people say, oh, you I like this, I like that, I like that, I don't know what it is they like. See, I'm always, and that's why if I look at other people's things, I don't have good words to say it. So I seldom keep quiet. A lot of people say, if your paintings on the wall, a lot of people talk about it. I seldom say anything. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Let me emphasize the difference. Our daughter here in Topeka, when she was 5 or 6, we sent her to learn how to piano. And sometime I went to pick her up, and the teacher said, oh, you did so well here and so well here, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes, oh, it's perfect. She's very happy. And then sometime in the house, we practice 10 minutes, okay? And she used a timer, 10 minutes. By the time the timing alarm started, she stopped right away in the process of one phrase or so. I said, how come you don't even finish the phrase? How come you don't want to practice a little more? And she said, my teacher told me I'm perfect. How could you argue with that? That's the entire different culture I grew up. That's one reason I told you. When people seriously ask me, are you an artist? I said, no, I'm just trying to learn how to paint. That I used to do the walk-cast here, the tag, so forth. Because my language background is so bad, a lot of trees I should know, the name and so forth. A lot of people there, handwritings I could not recognize. I always ask and so forth. Like I have a nickname here. My member fellowship call me Picky Fred. The reason they call me Picky is I was picky, and I am. There's a two on the walker. There's an artist's name, there's a title, and there's a medium. The title is totally the artist's authority to name it. I'm supposed to follow whatever the title. The way I understand the meaning is the material, or sometimes either ceramics or glass or paper or canvas, this and that, create your work, but not the style of your painting. Then because his painting is so good, to convince me, maybe I misunderstood. I only learned narrowly. Then I went back to Washburn, asked a professor. I said, what is that? It's watercolor? It's watercolor. The style is not a medium. So I came back, and people asked me, Fred, if he wants to style, if he wants to pointillist, why you want to change it? Then I did respond, I say, this is wrong. I talked to my professor. I'm pretty sure it's wrong. I say, if somebody knows what the medium means, sees that, they did not, that stupid Fred didn't understand. They just talk about your argues quality. That's why I'm so picky.